All right, I understand the last video I did with this whole CV thing sucked because, well, all the filming we did was trash. So I'm gonna try it again. I'm Redbeard 50 or 50 if you're on the forums, also known as Charles. This is, I'm gonna use an RCV axle here that we're testing out for the Baja kit stuff to take apart, but it's identical to the factory one, which I'll show you pictures of. But it's the inner CV is an exact copy, not an exact copy, just a thicker copy and way more robust. But to take them apart is identical to the stock ones. So to take these apart, you're going to need a couple tools, snap ring pliers. You're going to need some snips to cut off the band clamps. You're going to need a band clamp tool to put new band clamps on. I know some people like to use the worm clamps, but you know what, get the right tool. You know, it's not worth ripping them, and it's not worth, just get the right tool. So anyways, to take these apart, you're going to see the band clamps on the outside of this part, and then down here, I'll show you a picture of them on the OEM ones. I don't have them on here, obviously. I'm not going to start ripping them apart, but clip those off, and then you're going to pull this down. This is going to be full of grease. The RCV ones don't use as much grease. They use nicer grease. The stock ones have a ton of this yellow grease, just a ton of them, but the aftermarket ones don't have them. Inside there, you're going to see this little retaining ring in there. Use a little pick or a non-marring pick tool to get that out, and I'll show you where that is. Once you get that out, you're just going to pull it apart, and let me see if you can see right here. There's that little groove right there, and that's where this sits in, and that that keeps the racing cage and the bearings from sliding out of the housing. And I know a lot of you guys, there's a lot of people going and doing this diff drop, and then they're having a problem with these boots tearing. And also when they do go and rebuild them, they're going to find that the stock ring is just decimated. It's either broken or all bent up. The stock ring is really tiny. This is the RCV ring, and it's probably about 4 times the diameter. Yeah, anyway, so the what happens is with the diff drop, you're pulling that diff down, and it's right now as it is on a stock axle or the stock differential location, this will already pull out and hit just bang on that retaining ring, because the stock axle shaft is actually a little bit too short for what it needs. It could use a slightly longer shaft, but it is what it is. So the diff drop just makes that, you know, a lot worse. And so you're banging on it and you're putting it in a really horrible angle. Anyways, so without a diff drop, let's just get back to this. So once you take that retaining ring out, this literally just pulls out. You're going to have a lot of vacuum from the grease, but just pull it out, have a buddy hold on to it, or put it in aluminum or plastic vise, and then just yank it out. Once you get that yanked out, you're going to see right in here, you're going to see the snap ring right in there. Get a set of snap ring pliers. All right, these are adjustable, so you know, if you want to open them or close them, you just switch which side that is on there. But get that snap ring plier in there. Get that snap ring out. Should be wearing safety glasses, but I'm not, because I just wanted to get this video cranked out real quick. Get that snap ring out. There it is. Bob's your uncle. Racing cage comes out super quick and easy on these. And then after that, you just pull off the boot, yank that off, put the new boot on, right? And once you get the new boot on, put your race cage back on. You're going to see there's 2 sides of it. There's going to be the shallow side and the deep side, right? See how that's deeper and that's shallower? Shallow side goes down, deep side goes up. That is, if it ends up not being that way, I mentioned on the other video that RCV had put out one set. I've only seen one set so far. That happened to be the set that we got. but that set, the race inside of it was backwards. So if that happens, all you got to do is just pull the balls out, use a little plastic tool to yank them out. These things are 300 M, so you're not damaging them. Just pull those balls out, flip the race inside of it, and then put it back together, and then slide it back on, and get the snap ring plier and your snap ring. Let me get this back in there. Toot, toot, toot. There, put that back on there. Bob's your uncle. Fill this up with as much, a lot of grease. Fill this up with a lot of grease. Slide that down in there, right? Once you get it past that, I'm doing this with no grease, so it doesn't really slide as easy as if I had grease in there. Once you get it past that little ring mark, get your retaining ring on there, slide it in, put it into that little groove. Once that's in the groove, then that thing's not sliding out. Get your boot situated on around the CV housing, which I'm not going to do because, well, I don't have grease in it, and I'm not going to put this one all the way around. But once you get that on there, go ahead and put the band clamp on there, crank that down, and then on the outside one, same thing. You are going to, on the production zr2 axles, there's a little lip. Put the outer boot on that little lip, and I will show you what that little lip looks like in a second. But you're going to want to put this part of the boot in that little indentation, and what that does is when you put the band clamp on it, it stops the boot from sliding in or out with just heat and friction and all that stuff. It's it doesn't really matter if it slides in or out. I mean, it's not the end of the world. You've got that thing full of grease, and it's really something you should maintain if you ever go through water crossings. Yeah, you should pull your CVs apart and re-grease them. But if you're not doing water crossings, you're not going, doing a bunch of deep water stuff, then, it's not to worry about it. But it's the same thing with the outer. That's why the outer has this little lip, right? Your band clamp is going to go up against this part. And let me show you on one of these axles. Okay, so obviously, right, you see my band clamp isn't in the right spot. I'm just doing some testing with these, so it doesn't really matter. But here's this is on the bajakits axle shaft, but there's this little notch right here. The RCV ones, I believe, also have that. If they don't have it, it's not the end of the world. It's literally, I mean, you see I don't have either one. Not a big deal. But yeah, fill them up, get those band clamps on there, and you're ready to go. Back to the show, and just going to give you a look-see at the stock. Gonna go and see the stock, or excuse me, the RCV CV that they got going for the ZR2. This is the RCV one, and it is just awesome. This thing it offers 10 degrees more articulation than the stock one, and it is just bulletproof. This thing is massively strong. Yeah, this thing's beautiful. So anyways, can't wait to get the one set up for the bajakits arms. Once I get that done, I think I'm hoping that we don't have to do a 934 conversion, but yeah, I'm working with RCV right now, trying to get that sorted. Maybe they can redesign this a little bit thinner, so it can articulate enough. But right now, these are articulating about 11 degrees less than a stock inner CV, because these are massively strong, massively overbuilt. So either maybe they can make them thinner, a little less strong, which is still going to be stronger than stock, or go to a 930 or 934 conversion. But that's it. That's how you swap out the CV boots.